Hi, my name's David Sweet, CEO of FocusCore, and I'm here with Michael Clemons, who is the founder of the NPO YouMeWe. And I feel very special to have him here today to tell us about this wonderful organization that he's put together. So good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let's start off with you, Michael. Tell us about your background.
I first came here 30 years ago, originally in the bubble, which was euphoric. And I finished university in San Francisco, but always wanted to come back to Tokyo. So my first job was actually here in Tokyo. And so, 25, 26 years ago, I didn't have a laptop or a mobile phone. Yeah. And so it really made me realize that, 20, 25 years from now, we don't know what technology the kids will be using. And it was really more than 10 years ago that I was invited to be Santa Claus at an orphanage in Hiro.
Okay.
And I didn't even think about orphanages in Japan. So I came in to play Santa Claus. When I started working with the kids, I realized there's so many different stories. It's economic, abuse situations, or for whatever reasons, the parents can't look after the kids. In some cases, the parents still have relationships, but they just come to visit. But as the years progressed, 10 years ago, we thought putting a computer and a printer in an orphanage was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And I think the more we started focusing on 21st century learning and skills and the fact that even in banking where I was, a lot of people were being replaced by algorithms, the importance for people to have their own device, the kids to have their own device, and for them to be focusing on what will be, really the 21st century job skills was most important. So with 30,000 kids in the homes times, 500 plus for computers, like a $15 million project.
Yeah.
But if you add training on top of that, it becomes a $100 million project. Then after 2011, lots of support came in on the back of the tsunami. And even though a lot of those funds were used to kind of help the infrastructure of the homes post the tsunami and the radiation problem, there was a lot left over so that we could actually start what we call digital citizenship program. Okay. So 350 computers were bought for homes all the way up north to Iwate and Ofanato, Sendai Tensien, Fukushima Aikwin. There's another home in Fukushima called Aoba Gakuen, and then Shirakawa Gakuen, which is also in Fukushima. The staff were naturally very nervous about whether the kids would have access to things that they shouldn't be seeing, or people would try to contact them who shouldn't be contacting them. And so we took two approaches. One, we upgraded the staff's computers, because in many cases they were using computers you see from old movies.
Wow.
Monochrome screens, very loud keyboards. But we also got at the time with the previous NPO, we got a huge donation from Microsoft. And so we introduced them to SharePoint, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. And this is really how we started. We started teaching the kids how to use software. I have a good team that works with us doing the training in Japanese. And what I find always amazing is, when you teach the kids PowerPoint, they get up to give their presentation and the slide turns into origami and flies off the screen. Cool. And then the teacher does black and white slide, black and white slide. So it's really the kids teaching the teachers, which is very interesting.
And that takes us up to YouMeWe. So tell me more about the establishment of that.
Many years ago, I read that Muhammad Ali had received a doctorate at Harvard. Yeah. And when they asked him to get up and speak, he just said, "You, me." And essentially he was basically saying that, we're all, kind of in this together. Yeah. And so YouMeWe is essentially, I think, the three most important words in any language, because everything starts with this. Mm-hmm. And so, whereas before we were focused on kids kind of 2 to 18, YouMeWe was really developed to be more of a social impact group and more focusing on the 15 kids 15 and above. Okay. But, in a country where you have more people, over 65 per capita in the world and less under 15, we think there's an interesting opportunity for the kids to be teaching the elderly ICT skills. So not only how to use their smartphone, but, for example, embracing IoT. So having an IoT plug that you can go to the station realizing you forgot to turn off your iron and use your smartphone to turn off the iron. Or before you come home on a cold day, to choose your smartphone to turn on the heater in your room. So really kind of embracing what is already here. I mean, IoT, AI, etc. But the second reality we notice in the homes is a lot of the kids are not 100% Japanese. They're multicultural.
Okay.
And so we don't want them to feel, well, I mean, we think as orphans they already feel less. And then by not being 100% pure Japanese, they also tend to feel less. So we want them to feel empowered with the ICT skills training. But at the same time, we have set up computer labs in the Philippines. We're reaching out to Indonesia. We set up one in Africa because a lot of the children are half Filipino or half African. And so we think it'll be an interesting experiment for them to learn how to communicate with other kids from different countries. But then, at 18, they don't think they have a skill set, but they speak Japanese.
Yeah.
And so as we look for the million nurses to come to Japan to take care of the elderly, or we look for the people to backfill a lot of the jobs that a college graduate in Japan shouldn't be doing, then it's necessary for people to be learning Japanese before they come here. Yeah. And not just the language, but also culture, like how to stand in line for the Yamanote line, etc. And I think this then is not seen so much as us giving them things, but investing in them.
Share with me some of the success that since setting up that you found.
Well, there's a documentary that's coming out about one of the boys who just turned 20, so I'm more comfortable talking about him. He unfortunately was living in Fukushima when the tsunami hit.
Okay.
And so his grandparents were washed out to sea. I think his grandmother has not been found, and his grandfather floated at sea for several days. But meanwhile, he found his way to the shelter in town. His estranged sister came and got him, brought him to Sendai. His estranged mother, who he really didn't live with until he was 2, came and got him. So to make a long story short, he really suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome. And when he made it into the homes for numerous reasons, he continued to have nightmares from the experience of the tsunami. So what I like about this story is when we, if you give someone a book, the book ends. If you watch a movie with them, the movie ends. But when we introduced him to the software and the computers, it seemed to be some sort of therapy for him, because he really literally dove into this software and really learned how to use PowerPoint and Excel and Word, and the nightmare stopped. So I think, I don't know that there's any direct correlation to that, but I like the idea that there is this infinite ability for people to go online or to go into the software programs and just continue to learn and continue to search for ways to use it. Some of the kids in the same home have really championed the program, actually. I mean, to be fair, they already had a program where they were teaching, for whatever reason, half of the kids there have mental challenges and the other half don't. And so for the kids that have mental challenges, they've been teaching how to repair hardware. So, donations from people like your good self, and replacing hardware or hard drives, etc. And at the same time, they were trying to fix the staff's computer. So they really approached me many years ago and said, we've got this program, but we would really love to be part of what you're doing. So we gave them 16 brand new desktops, and they really championed the program. So now the kids there are getting like second, third, first degree in Excel, Access, PowerPoint. They're going to go to Microsoft next month to present their PowerPoint skills. We had them at Sakura Internet day before yesterday looking at the server room. And so, I think the biggest success is just the fact that we're showing people that these are kids worth investing in. And I think, like most parents or guardians, I think you're so busy getting them fed, out the door, home, safe, that it's hard to step back and think that these are not throwaway kids. These are kids that have potential if people are willing to invest in them. And what I hope is that they're seen as an asset for Japan that can actually address some of the problems Japan has.
Yeah, that's why I love the organization, just because the educational value for how they can help Japan as we get older, right? It's so much potential. How can people get involved with the organization?
Well, it took a long time to get these relationships in the home. So even with me, I have to always keep in front of them and stay in touch with them, etc. So I think that the easiest way or the best way for people to get involved is come alongside us, where they're participating in a program. What I ideally would like, so if there's 10 homes, ideally what I want is one home coordinator per home so that I can get that communication with the home better. And then 6 volunteers in groups of 3. So they're rotating so you don't have burnout. Yep. But I really like the idea of the consistency of the kids seeing the faces again and again. So, for example, on Mondays, we go to St. Francis to teach the kids at all different levels about Night Zookeeper, which is our English gamified way of learning English.
Okay. Yeah.
We've connected, as I mentioned, in the Philippines and Ghana. So Monday night, we Skyped with the students in Ghana so the kids in Tokyo could meet them.
That's excellent.
Yeah. And, on Wednesdays, I actually go to a home to mentor a boy, who is the reason we got Night Zookeeper. So he's half African and half Japanese. Okay. So he had English when he was younger, but was tending to lose it in a pure Japanese environment. On Fridays, we do digital citizenship classes. We're teaching kids how to use Scratch for robots. We're introducing drones to the homes in Fukushima, for example. Next Monday, we're going to do an Ichigo Jam training session, where they take a $15 motherboard and plug it into a $15 monitor and a $15 keyboard. So for $45, they have a computer they can code with. Wow. So, get away from the feeling that if you don't have money or a MacBook or a PC, you can't do something. And then, just simply teaching them the basics, I think is really important.
That's great. Great. Well, thank you for taking time out to speak with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think it's very exciting what you're doing for Japan and for these kids. Just a couple of things that we're involved in. One is Knights in White Lycra is doing a run in November, November 9th, and that is a 10K, a 21K, and a 55K. Yes. And Knights in White Lycra has been involved in Japan for a long time doing a bike ride to Fukushima, and now they've put in some runs. So with that ultra marathon will be the first day of 7 days, 7 marathons, where I'll run from Tokyo up to Fukushima, which is about 300 kilometers, and we'll end on that Saturday at one of the homes to greet the kids. So that's an exciting thing. If you want to join in and run a little bit or part of that, either with Knights in White Lycra or myself, be more than welcome to join us. So thank you so much for coming today. It's been so wonderful to speak with you and learn about YouMeWe and how people can get involved.
I appreciate it.
And please, if you have any questions, there'll be more information down below, and we'll have a link to YouMeWe. Anywhere else that we should take a look for?
We're on Facebook and Instagram, but primarily Twitter.
Okay, so we can follow in all those places as well. So thank you so much.